Experiment time. Today I'm going to compare 4 different ways of shaping a batard and see what difference it makes. I will compare my own way with proof bread, ChainBaker, and Simple Sourdough. I'm so excited about this. Hi, I'm Sune and I'm a food geek. Today I'm going to do a comparison of different batard shaping methods. I'm going to be using my own method from my master recipe, which is different from the one I've been using lately, which more resembles the way that Peter from Simple Sourdough does his shaping. John from Proof Bread does a very elaborate folding and then a tuck and roll. Charlie from ChainBaker does a folding where he tucks in the end and then a pretty aggressive tuck and roll to create lots of tension. I'll be linking the videos where I learned each technique from, so you can go and see their stuff as well. All of them are amazing bakers, and their body of work here on YouTube easily shows that. If you're new to this channel, I bake a lot of sourdough bread and I make delicious food from all over the world. If you want to see more of this content, please join me by subscribing and ringing the bell so you won't miss any future videos. The dough that I'll be using is my standard experiment dough. 80% bread flour, 20% rye flour, 80% hydration, 2% salt, and 20% inoculation. It will be prepared in one batch and fermented together so that the fermentation is not a factor. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider becoming a member at Patreon. You can also buy some merch or use the links in the description for tools and ingredients. Those were the words. This is the experiment. This is not a recipe, it's an experiment. If you want to learn how to bake sourdough bread, I recommend you watch my video on my master recipe. Link is in the description. First I mix everything for the dough and then I let the dough rest for an hour. Then I perform 3 sets of stretch and folds, spaced out by 30 minutes. Then I ferment the dough in the proofer until it's grown by 50%. Then I take the dough out and divide it into 4 equally sized pieces. And then I shape each dough into a light ball. Alright, time for final shaping. First I shape using my own method from my master recipe. Stretch the dough out into a rectangle. Then fold up the bottom and fold in each side. Then the top down and tuck it in. Then I roll it up. And cover the ends. Then into the Banneton, and a stitch. That helps the bread become more slender, which I really like. Now John's method. First pull the dough out into a triangle. Fold the top down. Stretch each side of the top, fold one side over, and the other side all the way down. Then pull out the bottom corners and fold them in. Stretch and fold the top down into the divot. And then do a tuck and roll to create tension. This is the same as the stitch does for the other methods. Then the last part is to tuck the rolls at the end underneath the dough. Then into the Banneton. Alright, Charlie's method. First, stretch the dough out into a circle. Then fold one side over at an angle, then the other side, then tuck and roll from the top until you're close to the bottom. Fold in each side, and then finish the tuck and roll. I really like how the shape turns out here. Into the Banneton. The last one is Peter from Simple Sourdough. We stretch out the dough into a longish rectangle. This dough is really fighting me. It should have probably been at a higher hydration. We'll pull on in a bit. After all this brouhaha, it's time to do the actual shape. Fold the bottom up, sides in, top down with a tiny tuck, then a stitch. Then a quick roll. And into the Banneton. Then the shaped doughs go into the fridge set to 2 degrees Celsius, 35 degrees Fahrenheit for about 18 hours. And now it's time to bake. I'll do 2-stage baking. If you're interested, I have a video on this, linked in the card above. I heat my oven to 230 degrees Celsius, 450 degrees Fahrenheit with a Dutch oven inside. I heat for about 30 minutes. It's not really necessary to do it this way, but I want to ensure that every bread gets the exact same conditions. I grab the dough out of the fridge and I dust the bottom to make sure it slides easily off the peel. Then I flip it onto the peel. Score it. And then I bake it for 25 minutes. Just before the 25 minutes are up, I prepare the next dough for baking. Then I move the half-baked bread out to the side. And I put the next dough into the Dutch oven. And I bake for 25 minutes. Then I take out the first bread and let it cool, and the rest of the breads. Alright, let's have a look at the crumb of each bread. And all together now. Alright, so what can we learn from this experiment? Well, shaping is important, but how you do it is maybe not so important. There are some minor differences. The more shaping you do before you roll, the more round the bread will end up being. But hydration is a factor here. I'm pretty sure that at a higher hydration, the more the final breads would have looked even closer to each other. Would you watch this experiment at 90% hydration, or is this topic outdebated? Let me know in the comments. My conclusion, final shape however you want and have a hydration that suits the amount of shaping you do. I hope you learned something today. See you next time.